acid bases on salts.
Yes.
We have done this, and we had physical and chemical changes.
Yes.
Were you present on in all these classes?
Yes.
Okay. Respiration in organisms, that too has been done. Okay.
Sir, this didn't came in my half yearly.
Yeah. Okay. This was not in your exam, in your
Yes.
syllabus. Okay. Nonetheless, we did this. We completed this in the batch. Okay, no. Hmm. Like in some of the students, they had this syllabus. Okay, they had this chapter. Then transportation in plants and animals. If you remember, I think you were present while this
I
was going
was
on.
present, but this also didn't came
Yeah.
in the exam.
But like whatever chapters were there in your syllabus, I think we had completed that. No.
Yes, I think
Oh.
so. They
Hmm.
they will come in final
Final
exam.
exam. In the final, it
Yeah.
will be coming. Okay, that's good. Then the chapter. Then we have completed one more chapter in the batch, that is forest, our lifeline. Okay,
Yes, sir.
this too has been completed. Now tell me, is there any chapter which you have missed, or in which you have attended only few classes, only one or two classes?
No, sir.
No.
Mm.
Okay, okay, that's good. All right then. So today, the chapter which we are going to do, we are following the sequence. In a sequence, we are going on, and the reproduction in plants. That is the chapter which we are going to start from today. Okay. In the previous class, also Razan and Kuman were present, and we were actually taking her their doubts. Okay. Okay. And also, I will recommend you to make notes of the chapters. By the way,
Okay.
have you received the notes so far or not?
Sir, I
I
have seen. I think I have seen it.
you have received it, no?
Yeah,
Ah,
I think. Yes,
okay,
sir. Yeah.
okay, good. Because I have shared the notes to you guys. Okay. So in the chapter reproduction in plants, we will learn about how the plants will be doing reproduction. There are different kind of plants, and different plants will be doing reproduction in different manners. You see that not all the plants bear seeds now. Not all the plants bear flower. There are some flowering plants, there are some non-flowering plants. So some of the plants will grow via the help of the seeds now, right? And why some of the plants can be grown with just their body parts. Like for example, rose plant, it can be grown just with the help of the branch, with the stem.
Yes.
Potato plant in the market, usually seeds of potato are not sold. Basically, you can cut the potato into into different pieces, and from each piece a new plant will grow. For example, ginger, hmm, it can be simply grown by burying it in the soil. Basically, ginger. So there are different kind of plants that can be grown without the help of the seeds. Okay, and there are some which can be grown with the help of the seeds also.
Mm-hmm.
Further, we will see that there are leaves of some particular plants from which a new plant can grow. Huh? No,
Yes.
normally we know seeds, from seeds new plant can grow, from a stem, from the root new plant can grow. But in fact, we will see that from the leaves also some plants can grow. Further, we will also learn about how some of the plants can grow via fragmentation, via spore formation, via budding. So in the chapter, we will be learning about methods of asexual reproduction in the plants.
Okay.
Reproduction will also be of two types. One in which two parents will be involved. Like in the case of humans, in the case of most of the animals, two parents are required for the birth of the baby. So that is sexual reproduction. But in some organisms, in some microscopic organisms, and in some plants, in a good number of plants, we see that a new plant can grow from the same plant. From the same plant, a new parent can grow without the involvement of two parents. Okay, no? So a type of reproduction in which only one parent is required is called as asexual reproduction. So we'll be learning about what are the different ways of asexual reproduction in the plants. In this particularly, we'll be learning about the vegetative propagation. We will learn what is vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation, and spore formation. Later on, having learned about these, later on we'll be learning about the sexual reproduction in the plants. Particularly, they will be learning about flowers. Sexual reproduction occurs via the help of the flowers in them. Okay. And in flowers, particularly, we will learn that flowers are divided into two parts, namely the male and the female part. When we look at the structure of a flower, take for example, look at this flower here. Take for example this flower. You must have seen these structures in the flower.
Yeah.
This is structure, right? So when we look at the structure of a flower, we will get to know that it has two parts. One is the male part, another one is the female part. And we will learn what is their role in their case of reproduction, how they will be playing an important role in reproduction. And at the same time, we will get to know that some of the plants, some of the flowers like this cucumber flower, it does not seem to have two different parts. It has just one reproductive part. Okay. No? So we'll be learning about
Yes.
all these important facts in the class. Okay. Later on, an important thing which we'll be learning is the pollination. We'll be learning about what is pollination and how it takes place, what will be the agents of pollination. You will see that the insects, the different bees or the wasp or the hummingbird or butterflies, while they will be sitting on the flower, they actually help in the reproduction process. Although they sit on the flower to suck the fruity nectar, that fruity juice called as nectar from the flower, no? But actually they are helping in the process of reproduction in the plants. We will learn how they do so. Further, we will learn that in a forest, you tell me, do humans go to put the seed in the soil? Do they go to sow the seeds in the soil, or the seeds or the plants grow in a natural manner?
So in a natural manner.
In the natural manner, no? Very good. Say, for example, there is an archipelago, like a group of island. Okay, there is a group of island. By the way, group of island is called as archipelago. What do we call this?
Okay.
Archipelago is a group of island. Nonetheless, I'm saying that there is this island A, there is island B. Suppose on island A, lots of coconut trees are growing. Lots of coconut trees are growing on this. And island B does not have any coconut trees in it. Okay, no? But after a few years, what we get to see that on the
We
island
will
B
also
also.
have.
Exactly. So how did a coconut plant came here? So why the action of the water? No. So as the coconut will be falling here, the water will carry it to the other island. So water is helping in the dispersal of the seed, in the transportation of the seed from this region 1 to region B. Water is helping. It can happen by the help of the air also. You have seen the dandelion seeds. It floats in the air. You might have seen that.
Yes, sir. I think I've seen it.
Yeah. So air will also help in the dispersal of the seed. So these things are also which you'll be learning in the later part of the class. Getting it, Fatima?
Yes, sir.
Further, we will learn about the germination of the seeds, that what are the important things required for germination of the seed. Okay. So first thing what you're going to do, you can either take the screenshot, or you can just quickly write down the important points from this.
I'll just take a screenshot.
Huh.
Okay, done.
Done. So starting with the very basic topic, that why reproduction is necessary. We know that an organism, in order to stay alive, all that it needs is nutrition. It needs to do the circulation of the water. It needs water. It needs food. The food and the water that they are taking up, it needs to be distributed to different part of the body. Digestion of the food is important. Excretion is important to stay alive. Hmm? Blood circulation is important. So those are the necessary things that is important for an organism to stay alive. But why reproduction is important? Basically, an organism can survive without reproduction. But the question is why it is important. So the answer to this is that in order for the continuity of the species on the earth, reproduction is important. So that an organism does not become extinct, so that its population does not decreases and it does not become extinct, reproduction is important. Basically, reproduction, what is it? Reproduction is the multiplication of the same organism of that species, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the basically act of giving birth to organism of the same kind. It's the production of the offspring from the parents of the same kind. Like a dog will give birth to dog, a cat will give birth to the cat. huh? So the multiplication of the same organism, the giving birth of the giving birth to the organism of the same kind is called as reproduction, and it ensures the continuity of the species and prevents it from getting extinct. That is one thing. There are certain kind of organisms. Certain organisms are extinct on Earth. They are nowhere to be found now. For example, dodo bird. By the year six,
Yes.
by the year 1690, dodo bird went extinct. Huh? Dodo bird is nowhere else to be found. You would have heard about the woolly mammoth. It disappeared from the face of Earth about 10,000 years ago. Why?
Yes.
Due to overhunting or due to the climatic change. So an organism basically goes to extinct if their population is being drastically reduced. Like if, say, for example, today humans were to start hunting all the elephants. So if no elephants are left, so their population will basically become extinct. So in order to avoid an species from getting extinct, it is important for them to participate in reproduction. But there are certain uh, there are certain disadvantages of reproduction, particularly in the case of animals. What is happening in the case of due to the reproduction, like uh, overpopulation is the problem. That is one thing. Nonetheless, since our discussion is mainly regarding the plants, so let us learn about the method of reproduction in plants. So plants will do reproduction in two ways. When you look at the parts of the plant here, for example, the bird, this bird, the flower, the leaves here, basically the leaves here, leaves, stems, roots. So the different parts of the of the plant that we are seeing, it can be divided into two manners. From the perspective of reproduction, we can divide it into two manners. So say for example, a new plant can be grown from the root. Not all the plants can be grown from their roots, but there are some plants. A new plant can be grown from the stem, from the leaf, from the bud, etc. But usually, leaves or the stems or the roots, what are they there for in the plant? They will be carrying out the necessary functions in the plant now. Leaves will be preparing the food by the photosynthesis. Stems will be transporting the food and the water. Roots will be absorbing the water and minerals from the soil now. So the different kind of parts that we are seeing here, generally the leaves, stems, and the roots, they are helpful in they will be performing necessary functions in the plants right now. But in some of the plants, a new plant can be produced without the new plant can be produced with the help of these parts of the plant. So in the case of asexual reproduction, particularly, we will be learning that a new plant can be grown with the stem, with the roots, or with the leaves. That is one thing. But when we talk about the sexual reproduction, so sexual reproduction will occur via the seeds only. And where are the seeds produced? How the seeds are produced? When this flower is fertilized, this eventually becomes into a fruit, and the fruits contain seeds now. So when new plants will be grown via the seeds, that will be called as sexual reproduction. Understood this so far?
Yes, sir.
So if a new plant is grown from the stem, is it a sexual or a asexual mode of reproduction?
Asexual.
Mm. And if it is, and if in the process of reproduction, flowers are taking part, namely with the help of a seed, a new plant is grown, then that will be an example of.
Sexual.
Okay, that is one thing. Right now, our discussion is mainly concentrated around the sexual reproduction. Okay. Now, as I was saying about the asexual reproductions, there we get to see that different parts of the plant, namely the stem, the leaves, the roots, when these parts will be taking part, these parts are now, they are required for necessary functions in the plants, and they are called as vegetative parts. What do we call them? We call them as vegetative parts of the plant. Getting it now? Leaves, stems, and roots. We call them as vegetative part. Okay, Fatima. We call them as vegetative parts because these are necessary for the survival of a plant. Further, in vegetative propagation, it's the process where new plants are grown with the help of the vegetative part. The growth of new plants with the help of vegetative part is called as vegetative propagation. These are some of the common plants which are grown by the vegetative propagation method. For example, rose. Oftentimes we see that simply by cutting the branch of the rose, by cutting the stem, a new plant can be grown. We can just cut the rose and you can plant it in a pot and a new rose plant will grow from it. Getting it?
Yeah.
Take the example of mint plant, also called as pudina. You know, mint or pudina, same thing.
Yeah.
In Urdu, it is in Hindi called as pudina. So, which is seen in the kitchen garden, it grows and spread quickly with the help of its underground stem called as stolon. Take a look at this plant here. Take a look at this. Okay, now. So this is the mint plant. Okay. So it does vegetative propagation, which we'll be learning about how specifically it does so. Then we have another example of tulips. So tulips are grown on a large scale for ornamental purpose by collecting their bulbs and then planting them. Okay, tulip is a flower which is grown on a large scale for ornamental purposes. Okay. Then cherry and apple trees, they can be propagated, they can be grown using the shoot called as suckers, which are found at the base of the tree. So we will be learning about all these things in the detail. Okay. Further, if a new potato is growing without the human intervention, or if the ginger is growing from the stem from, if a ginger is growing in a natural manner, or from an onion a new plant is growing, uh, or for example mint is growing in a natural manner without the intervention of humans, so that will be called as natural vegetative propagation. If it is occurring naturally without the help of the humans, without the intervention of humans. But say that if I were to cut this potato in equal parts now, and then if I were to sow it in the ground, then that will be called as artificial vegetative propagation. Getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Hmm? Or take the example of the grafting, for example. Like on the same plant, different species of mango can be grown on a plant, on a mango plant. Yeah. There's a person in India who is called as the mango man of India. There's a person by the name of Kalimullah Khan. Okay, he has been called as the mango man of India. He's an important horticulturist. Okay, na? And he has been called so because he has been able to grow as many as more than 300 different varieties of mango in just one single plant. Huh? So he is able to do so by the help of the grafting. Now tell me, look at this process here. Look at this image here. Is it occurring naturally or is there a human intervention in this? A human is it is
Human.
a it is done by we humans now.
Yeah.
So, but this is also vegetative propagation now because we are not growing it from the seed now, we are growing it from the stem now. So this is also vegetative propagation, but it's the artificial vegetative propagation. Or take for example, you have taken a rose plant and you are cutting it and then you are planting it here. So is it occurring naturally? No. Take the example of the layering, for example, or like tissue culture. So when vegetative propagation is carried out by the human intervention, it is called as artificial. But right now we are learning about the natural vegetative propagation. Getting it now? In which
Yes.
humans don't have any intervention. So let us learn about the vegetative propagation being done by the roots first of all. Normally, when we look at the roots of the plants, normally the function of the root is to suck the water and the mineral, take the water and the mineral from the soil and transport it to the shoot system, where it will be used to carry out different functions like photosynthesis, respiration, etc. But in some plants, we see that they have a modified root. They have a modified root. For example, take the case of sweet potato, like this, the one that you see in this image, that is a sweet potato. Sweet potato is swollen. You would have eaten sweet potato and it is swollen.
Yeah.
So it is swollen because it's a modified root, and it is acting as a storage organ in the plant. Now, in order to grow new plants, these roots now, which are called as tubers, by the way, we have a term for them, and we call them as tuberous roots. So these tuberous roots will develop a bud from it. A bud develops out of it, and from that bud, a new plant will grow. Okay, no? So that is how this plant will be growing. With the help of the these tuberous roots will grow the bud, and out of that bud, a new plant grows. And this is a vegetative propagation by the help of the root. That is one thing. So this is the sweet potato, where we get to see that the bud has developed, and later on that bud develops into a plant. That is one thing. So new plants would be emerging out of this swollen modified roots called as tubers, and buds are formed here in different parts of the sweet potato, for example. Some of the other plants that will be doing the similar kind of reproduction is dahlia. That is dahlia. Okay, no? So hope this should be clear to you. Yes, Fatima?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
no? Good. Then we have another example of the underground stem. What we have right now, we learned about the modified root. Then we have the case of the underground stem. Take for example, like rhizome. Take for example tubers and bulbs and corms. Basically, when we look at different kind of usually when we look at the stem, the function of the stem is to transport the water and mineral throughout the body of the plant. That's what the stem are meant for. It also acts as a pillar of the plant, in which all the branches are attached. It is acting a pillar system in the plant body. But in some cases, stems can be modified, and they will be storing the food, and they will be capable of doing reproduction. How do they do reproduction? In them, you will see that birds will be grown. If you were to look at a ginger now, you will see that these birds are present on the different corners of the ginger. Have you observed that, Fatima? Hmm? Now, this rhizome, like I mean to say, this ginger, that is also underground stem. Potato is also underground stem. Okay, now potato is also underground stem. But why we are calling this as rhizome? Why this one is being called as rhizome? Because this kind of underground stem, it grows in a horizontal fashion. You understand what is horizontal and what is vertical,
Yeah.
right? So rhizomes are the fleshy horizontal underground stem that is modified to store food. And an example of the rhizome is ginger. An example is ginger. And how the ginger develops, how it grows? It grows by the help of the bird. And from the bird, a new plant has grown. Later on, a new plant will grow from it. So that is the way how vegetative propagation takes place in the ginger. Hope it should be clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Is it? Okay, good. So far we have learned about two types of vegetative propagation. Okay, now we learned about the the stem. A few more examples are left to be discussed in this, and we did also learn about the roots, particularly the sweet potato example which we had. Okay, sweet potato, it's an underground root, modified root. And what is the term we use for the modified root? There is a term that we use for the modified root. Remember? That is tuber. Okay, and they are tubers. Okay, now we call them as tubers. Okay, that is one thing. Furthermore, talking about this modified stem. Modified stem, that is this potato. So in potato, you will see that these kind of structures, these kind of eye-like structure are present on the different parts of potato. Right now, this structure that we'll see, like we can notice these kind of structure on the potato, and these are called as the eye of the potato. And from the eye of the potato, a bird will start to grow. Many times you might have observed this, that if potato were to be left for a week in moisture, okay, now then this bird will grow out of it. And from this bird later on, we will see that it will further start to develop into a plant. As you can see here, it will further start to develop in a plant like this. Getting it now? That is one thing. So this is a modified underground stem, and this is also called as tubers, by the way. These are also called as tubers, and it is a modified underground stem, and from the birds, new plants can be grown from this. So one thing common which we observe in this, in the case of the tuberous roots and in the case of the tuberous stem, that both of them are growing by the help of the bird. Got this now, Fatima? That is one thing. So vegetative propagation by the stem, what we have learned so far, that the stems, what we know generally, that the stems or the branches of the plant, it will be normally carrying out other functions like transportation of food and water, supporting the plant, etc. But we see that there are some birds present on their body, like the bird here in this ginger, or the bird here in the case of the potato plant. It can give rise to a new plant. It can give rise to a new plant. That is the way how it occurs. Okay, so new plants are obtained from the stems in this case. Now new plants can be grown from the potato in this manner also, that we can simply cut it into equal parts. Whatever part of the potato is containing the eye or the bird in it, now eye bird, so we can cut it into as many parts. Like you can see how many eye is present in it. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. There are 7 eye birds, so we can cut it into 7 parts, and from each part a new potato will grow. Hope this much should be clear to you. Yes, Fatima, is it clear?
Yes.
Then we have the example of the runners. So in the case of runners, what we get to see, that plants like for example mint, plant like strawberry or the grass, so they have a horizontal running stem. These stems will be running parallel to the ground in a horizontal fashion, and we see that at different places the roots will be growing, and the roots will further grow. It grows in such a manner that a new plant starts to develop from here. And in this case, we are seeing that the new plant that has grown is still attached to the parent plant. So this is called as runners. So some plants should be growing along the ground, and they contain modified stems called as runner, and runner is sometimes also called as stolon. So this modified stem, the horizontal stem that where I'm pointing, these are called as runners or stolons, and they contain birds from which roots can be produced. Okay, no? They contain tiny birds on the different parts of them. Like take for example here, Birds are present here, and from this bird, shoot and the root can develop. The shoot and the root can develop from this. Getting it now? Shoot and a root can develop, and hence in this manner a new plant can grow from this. That is the way, okay, no? And the plants that grow in this method are strawberry, mint plant, and the grasses. And that is why, it is very difficult to get rid of the grasses. Why? Because even if a tiny fraction of the root is left in the soil, new grasses will start to grow from it. Got this so far? So that is another vegetative propagation method which we have learned. Then we have another method via a new plant can be grown with the help of the leaves. So leaves of few plants, when they get detached from the parent plant, we get to see that on the edges of the leaves, tiny birds will be growing. Tiny birds will grow, and out of that tiny birds, new plants starts to emerge. So on the margin of this leaf, you can see that tiny birds have grown, and from the tiny bird here you can see that roots have also started to grow. Roots have started to grow, and tiny plants have also started to grow. So from that bird, both the root plus the shoot system starts to grow. And in this manner, a new plant can be grown from this. The most common example of the plant that grows via the leaf is Bryophyllum. Another examples are Kalanchoe and Adiantum. These are some of the plants that will be growing via the help of the leaves. Is that clear to you, Fatima? That is one thing. Now we have the example of the bulbs. Bulbs are basically their underground stem to which the leaves are attached. Now, if you were to look at the structure of the onion, when we cut the onion from the middle, you will find a central structure inside it. You will find a central structure. You might have seen that tough central structure inside the onion. That is called as a bud. That is mainly called as the apical bud. Like if we were to split it from the middle, I guess you can understand the diagram. This is called as the apical bud. And apical bud, it is further connected to the leaves. The leaves that you see here, it is connected to the apical bud in it. Okay. So bulbs, what we are seeing here, this bulb here is the underground stem to which the leaves are attached. Leaves are attached to this, and they are modified stems. Yes, modified stems like onions are also modified stems. Why modified? Because they are capable of storing food in them. And when we look at the structure of this onion, when we look at the structure of this bulb, so there is a central structure inside it called as apical bud to which the leaves are connected. And to this, we are seeing that roots are also emerging from the base of the bulb here. So the center of the bulb contains an apical bud that is going to produce the leaves. And from this, further we getting to see that the flowers are also being produced from this. That is one thing. And some other examples of the bulbs include like tulip, like onion. Like onion, already we discussed this. We have example of tulips also. So when you're going to plant an onion, you will see that a new onion also develops from it. So that is another example of the vegetative propagation which we have seen here. That is the case of the bulb. And this here you can look at the structure. You can look at the bryophyllum leaf here. Okay. Normally, when we look at the birds now, normally birds are present on the axil of the stem. When we look at the birds, if you were to look at the first diagram here, here you can see that birds are present here. See this apical bird here, bird is present over here, bird is present over here. The same thing is being shown in this diagram as well. The same thing is being shown in the diagram also. That is the bird present on the stem. From this bird, new plants will not grow. Fatima, will the new plants grow from this bird?
No, sir.
No. But here in this case, you are seeing that the bird is present at the base of the stem here. It is present at the base of the stem. And in this case, the new plant can grow. The birds are present on the root. If the bird is present at the base of the stem, new plants will grow from it. Okay. In fact, we have seen that in the case of the runners also, we saw this thing that the birds were present in the horizontal stems. They were present at the horizontal stem. So the birds were present at different parts in this horizontal stem, and from that bird, the root and shoot system can grow, and hence a new plant can grow from it. But in the upper part of the plant body, where the birds are present, like here in the system, the new plants will not grow from it. So that is one thing. So we have few questions here. Answer these questions. Answer some of the questions, and then we are going to continue. Okay. We'll be answering question number. Just 1 minute. Okay, so for the different discussion which we had, tell me, take the case of the onion, sweet potato, and ginger. Are all of them modified stem or modified roots?
So what?
My question is that we take the example of onion, sweet potato, and the ginger. Are all of them modified stem or are all of them modified roots? Or just answer to me, which one of them are modified stem or which one of them are modified root?
Sir, ginger is modified stem. And sweet potato is modified root.
Modified root, good.
And onion is also modified root.
No, onion is modified stem actually.
Yeah, stem cell.
Okay, no? Good. Further, tell me the name of a leaf from which a new plant can be grown. Tell me the name of a leaf from which new plant can be grown. Yes. I can give you a hint. It starts with B.
Yeah, so it's something like bud.
Bryophyllum. Okay, no? It is bryophyllum. Okay.
Okay.
That is one thing. Name the example of a plant that is a runner. That is a runner. They have horizontal stems, and that horizontal stem have buds from which new plant can grow. Yes. Mint, that is pudina, strawberry, and grasses. All of them are runners now. Those are the plants that grows along the ground and they contain modified stems called as runners in them. Okay, no? Fatima. Runners are also called as, they have another term. We use one more term for runners. That is stolons. Okay, no? They're also called as stolons. So that question might be asked like, what is the another name for the runners? So they are also called as stolons. Okay. And are they growing horizontally or vertically to the ground?
Sir, vertically.
Horizontally, okay.
Horizontally, sorry. I got confused.
Okay, no. So vertically is like if it is perpendicular to the ground like this, it is vertical.
So it's horizontal.
It's horizontal, meaning that it is parallel to the ground. Okay,
Okay.
that is one thing. Okay, now the very basic thing. What do we understand by vegetative propagation? Hmm. What is vegetative propagation? Yes, Fatima.
But
What is
it is done by the human.
No, no. I'm not asking about the artificial vegetative propagation. I'm generally asking what is vegetative propagation. The vegetative propagation is classified into natural and artificial. That's a different thing. But in general, it's a type of asexual reproduction in which plants are grown from the different parts of the plant. No, plants are
Yeah.
grown from the different parts of the plant. Like it can be grown from the stem, from the leaves, and from the root. No, right?
Yes.
Okay, that is one thing. Furthermore, an important characteristics which we see here, that there is no involvement of two parent. There is only one parent, that is the parent plant. There's just one parent involved in this. Okay, now there will be some advantages of vegetative propagation, and there will be some disadvantages of this. For example, uh, take for example a strawberry plant. Strawberry plant is grown via the vegetative propagation, and it's an example of runner. No, it's a runner. See, if I have a certain species of strawberry that is very fleshy and has a very big size, and it is very sweet. So advantage of the runner is that same new plants, the new plant that will be growing out of it will have the characteristics same as of the parent plant. It will contain the same genetic material that the parent plant has. Not take the example. Take a look at this. In the case of Hmm. In the case of the strawberry here, the strawberry that will be growing on this one, no? Fatima, the strawberry that will be growing on this one here, the new
Yeah.
plant that is emerging, it will also be having the same genetic material. Like this plant also has the same genetic material as the parent plant. This is the parent plant, and this is the new plant. Suppose what I say that the strawberry here is fleshy, it's fleshy and juicy, plus it is big in size. So the new plant, since it has inherited the same genetic material, same characteristics as of its parent plant, so thereby it will also bear the same quality of strawberry, isn't it? Yeah. So isn't it an advantage? This is an advantage now that
Like, could
the
you repeat it again? I didn't understand it.
I am saying that the new plant that is growing from it now, it has got the same characteristics from the parent plant. It contains the same genetic material as the parent plant has. So if the parent plant gives a good gives a good quality strawberry, like this strawberry is fleshy and juicy and it is big in size, it is sweet. So the new plant will also give the same quality of strawberry, isn't it obvious?
Yeah.
Right now. So this is an advantage of vegetative propagation. But at the same time, there can be some disadvantages. There can be some disadvantages. How? Like for example, if the parent plant has some disease in it, if the plant has some genetic disease, so it will be transferred to the offspring, to the new plant also. Now, if it has some genetic disease, it cannot be cured with the help of medicines. So the new plant will also have the same disease. So this is disadvantage. No? So just like there are advantages, there are some disadvantages also of the vegetative propagation. Got this or not?
Yeah, I didn't quite get it. Like, what? How is the disadvantage?
How is it disadvantage? Disadvantage. Okay. The thing is like why it is being called as disadvantage now. Like through this now, we're getting to see that the new plants that are growing here, this is not diverse. It is having the same genetic material as the parent plant has. If the parent plant has some diseases now, if the parent plant has some diseases, that disease will be transferred to the offspring also. Uh, Further, there is no genetic variation. There is no genetic variation, so there is no chance of a better development of a new species, or there is no chance of the development of new varieties of the plant. Another important thing to be discussed is that the plant that is grown by the vegetative propagation method now, they are more prone to disease. They are more likely to be infected with the disease. Getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
That is one thing. But there were some advantages also, which I have told you moments ago. Huh? Like if the parent
If
plant,
the
hmm,
parent plant is getting good strawberry, like juicy and big,
hmm,
so the other plant will also get nice strawberries.
exactly, that is one advantage. Plus, vegetative propagation is cheaper also, and it is easier, and it's a rapid method of growing new plants. Because when I'm going to grow the new plant from the seed, now it will take more time. I will have to purchase the seed. Huh? So it will be costing me some money. But here, growth of new strawberry is not going to cost me any money. It is cheap. Plus, it will be saving my time, isn't it?
Yes.
That is one thing. Okay. Further, all the different kind of plants that we have seen so far, whether it be the different kinds of plants that we are seeing here, um, in this one thing we are seeing that there is no variation. The new plant that is being grown will be similar to the previous, will be similar to the parent plant. That should be kept in mind. Okay. Right now we are going to learn about the artificial methods of vegetative propagation. But before that, I would again like to ask you this same question. What is vegetative propagation? Yes, define vegetative propagation.
So it is like
Mhm. Okay, let me help you. Is it a sexual or asexual method of reproduction?
asexual.
It's a asexual method of reproduction. Good.
Yes.
In this, do we use the reproductive part, or do we use the is the reproductive part taking participating, or the vegetative part participating?
So the vegetative part is participating.
Exactly, no. So vegetative parts are what are they? They are the
Um,
what? Stem
stem, yeah.
and
So it started from B, right?
repeat again.
It started from B, right?
Falling Islam. It is started from B.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm saying that the vegetative parts. I was asking about the vegetative part.
It's
Vegetative,
stem
yeah, stem. It's a root
and root,
and the
leaf.
leaves now. So they are the
Yeah.
vegetative parts. Got this now. So
Yes.
it's a type of asexual reproduction in the plants where a new plant grows from the vegetative part, namely stem, leaf, or root.
Sir, the sexual part is from seeds, right?
Asexual
No,
reproduction.
wait, wait.
Okay,
Sexual
okay.
part
Ha, ha, ha. That is
is
from seed and flower.
uh,
Okay, that is from the seed and from the flower. That is one thing. Very good. Further, we can go on to say that vegetative propagation is defined into two types. One is natural, another one is the artificial vegetative propagation.
so,
Okay.
sir, sexual is the natural one.
No, no, whether it is natural or whether it is the artificial vegetative propagation, both of them are asexual. No, like in all this, it is asexual. No, both of them. Whether we have like whether we studied about the vegetative, the natural vegetative propagation, while we'll be learning about the artificial, both of them are asexual. Okay. Okay. So today we won't be beginning with the artificial. We'll be continuing with this only. The artificial vegetative propagation, we'll be learning about that in the next class. Okay. So give me the examples of the plants that grows via the natural vegetative propagation. What what were the natural means of vegetative propagation? Rizan will be beginning the class in 2 minutes. Okay. Yes, Fatima, what were the examples of the natural vegetative propagation?
Uh, so the like the plants.
Hmm. Examples of the plants that were growing via the natural method of vegetative propagation. It's sweet potato, isn't it?
Sweet potato, yeah, and
Dahlia,
dahlia,
hmm,
onion,
onion,
and uh,
potato,
potato,
and ginger,
ginger, yeah,
hmm,
ginger,
ginger, strawberries,
strawberries, yeah. I think
brio,
that's it.
bryophyllum also,
So,
right?
could you explain what was that again? Prior.
Bryophyllum, yeah, sure. See, when we look at some of the plants, like particularly this bryophyllum, like the main thing about the vegetative propagation is about the bird. Everything in all the plant you will see it's common, like bird is present everywhere. Whether we learned about the runner or the tubers or the bulbs, bird was common in all of them. Okay, now because bird has the special cells in it from which root and shoot can develop. It has special cells in it.